Yes? We are ready.
You ready to go?
Today we have the pleasure to experience the passion of Lorikay Stone. Yes, Lorikay is all one word. With over 3 decades of interacting with images through the eye of the camera, her photography skills have brought over 1,000 faces to see themselves in a different light. She brings personal brands to make powerful connections. Please welcome Lorikay Stone.
Thank you so much for being here. So I want to talk to you about what is in your head is in your headshot. That might bring a few different things to mind, and that might mean. Let me give you an example. You remember when you got your first bike, and you're riding your bike, and you're learning how to do it, and you're riding, and you look over here, and your bike goes over here, and then you're like, oh, I gotta look over here, and you're kind of doing this the whole time? Because where you look is where you go. So I believe that what you're thinking about is what's going to show up. Why is that important? Let me tell you. Your clients look at your pictures. There's the first impression. It's the first thing they see a lot of times before they even get a chance to meet you. And they're taking in a lot of information. It's not just what you look like. It's not what your hair looks like. It's not that your eyes are perfect or your makeup is good. When you look at someone's picture on their business card or on their website, you're taking in, how does that person feel? You really don't care that they could lose 20 pounds. That's what we do to our own pictures. We critique them that way. But we don't do that to other people. We're kinder. And we take in whether or not we want to spend time with that person. Do we trust that person? They take it in not only by what you look like, but also all the other things that they're taking in. All the way the color is working, the way the light works. All those that's information that they're taking in subconsciously, whether that is intentional or not. And what I'm here to tell you is when you're doing your headshot, let's be intentional, because what's in your head is in your headshot, and it's my job to make sure that you're thinking about what it is you want people to know about you. And it's my job to make sure that all the things that you want people to know about you are being enhanced by all the other things. And you don't have to worry about any of that. But what I do want you to think about is what is important for you to let people to know about you. And what the most important thing is, what do you love about you? What is your strength? What's your power? So,
it's okay.
So when you think about who your ideal client is, when you're trying to come up with what your 3 words, and I want to help you with that. So I want you guys, we're going to just do 1 word for the moment, so we have 10 minutes. I want you to think about who your ideal client is. Who do you love working with? If you could clone that person or those people 1,000,000 times, what would they be like? Now picture those people, and what have they said that they like about you? What compliments did they have? You know they've given you a great review somewhere. What did they say about you? What was the conversation? When you think about that, and then you think about what it is that you love about yourself. What do you think your strengths are? What have people said to you for your whole life? What's the feedback been? And sometimes it doesn't always feel like it's good feedback. I always say, we're really direct, Lorikay. But what I know is that's a strength for me. My clients come to me because I'm direct, because I'm kind in my directness, and the way that I share my clarity. So whatever it is, own it. Because that is what people are coming to you for. It's you being your authentic self and holding on to that empowerment. So you want to attract people who want to work with you for who you are, not who you're pretending to be. And people connect with you through your eyes. So my job is to help people get to your eyes as fast as possible, especially on LinkedIn where you have 1,000,000 pictures up there. You need to stand out. And the way that stands out is your connection. Now, I have a whole other talk on how we can do that through a LinkedIn profile picture, but for right now, I want to talk to you about just being present. Because I know the minute, Lorikay Photography, the client I just had. Her name is Susan. Susan has never had a professional picture taken in her life, and I'm not going to tell you her age, but she's older than me. She's gorgeous. Susan is petrified of having her picture taken. Now, I promised her she had full delete rights, and before I thought about putting this presentation together, I did not keep the ones in which she looked completely like a deer in the headlights. But you can see it here, she feels a little, I mean, it's a nice shot, but she feels a little disconnected. Because she's in her head, she's thinking about what she looks like, she's thinking about how afraid she is, she's thinking about this doesn't feel safe. And then we had that conversation, which we had before, and I reminded her what it is that she wants to know. Who does she want to be? Look, Mark, how much more checked in she is here. And really, there's not that much of a difference in these pictures. But look at her, she's with us. This is the person you want to do business with. Feels connected. So, have you all come up with a word? At least one?
Yeah.
Everybody? Okay. Do you mind sharing? Anybody feel like sharing their word?
Creative compass.
Oh, I love that. Creative compass. And where does that come from within you? Just the innate desire just to create things and
To
create?
pull out the creativity in you.
Oh, I love that. The connection and support, the nurturing. That's great. Does it feel like nurturing when you're doing
It's
that?
discovery. It's finding the artists and people who don't know that they are artists.
And so where does that come from within you? What part of your personality? That's what you do.
Yeah.
What's the personality trait within you?
I'm an artist. I am a creative artist.
Yeah, so you're unveiling and you're reflecting back to them in a way and seeing, yeah, pulling it out. Great. Anybody else?
Maybe passionate, energetic, people-oriented.
Fantastic. Well, passion certainly exists for you, and that is definitely something that we would pull out in your pictures. Because when you're, quite frankly, we all know him well enough to know when he's standing there, you can see the passion. He's just like, you see that energy, you can't help it. And that wonderful, the fact that you know so much about connecting is a really great part of that. So I have a few examples here that I want us to look at just for a second. Here's another example. Oh, this is a great story. So she came in and she's a beautiful woman. And the only picture she's ever had that she's been using for her business pictures were one that she did with her selfie, and the only thing that she was missing were the fish lips, like this. That was kind of what she was using for her professional shot. But because who she knows herself as is a bartender. And how does she become why is she a good bartender? Because she holds on to her sex appeal. She connects with people with that connection. But she's changing her life. She's changing her life to be a real estate mogul. And we know that for her, but it felt foreign to her. So but in our unveiling conversation that I do with my clients, we find who is it that you really want to be? Who is it that you own for yourself? And she's owning that she's a positive, that she is a confident woman. Found out that she's done 25 marathons, and that she is determined. She has more determination than anybody I've ever met. And if she's got that kind of determination in running, she's going to have that kind of determination in her real estate business. And when she started seeing that, you could see that start to unveil for her. We went out and did pictures, and this was one of the first ones we shot, and she was really feeling that energy. But when we got back, she looked at it and she goes, I don't know who that person is. She was really struggling with who that person was. So we went back and I said, well, show me what you do like. And that's when I saw her other professional shot. And I said, I get it. Let's go shoot some of that. And we did. This is actually something in between that might have made her feel better. But when we came back down and we looked at all the pictures and we talked about who is it that you want to be in this business world, she says, this is me. I need to forget her. And she was in tears. Because she's been holding on to this person that she thought she was. And she never gave this person the energy it deserved. And so it's the unveiling of who she is. These are just a few people that you might know. But I want you to think, what is the energy of this person? What is she saying? What do you feel when you look at her? A calmness, a empowerment, and a very confident woman. Here we have an example of a couple of different options, different things. He has two businesses, and who he is both of those things. And I know we don't have a lot of time to go all of these, but I did want to show you some energies that show up when you are present to who you are. Because what I know is what's in your head is in your headshot, and you attract who you are, and it comes back to you. And I know that you're all powerful, beautiful, strong people bringing what you want to your life. Thank you.
Take a deep breath.
That's hard. Okay.
Okay. So, well, first of all, I'm very disappointed because my headshot wasn't in there. I kept waiting. I'm excited.
It used to be, it's in my slide.
And I knew that. Let's see. Where do I start? I'm really curious to see what other people say because I feel like your beginning was not as strong as it could have been until you said that it's all about the eyes. What's in your head, it's in your headshot. That's powerful. And I think you can start there. I think the beginning wasn't as strong as it could have been because that was your main message. I wanted to know what advice you give to your clients to allow that personality to shine through their eyes. You know, you might mention a few things that you suggest to people when you're taking their picture. Let's see. Great.
Should I have shown that picture earlier of the where you can see that disconnect?
Yes,
Yes.
absolutely, you could do it. Sorry.
Yeah, no, that's cool. Yes, exactly. And so, great use of those two photos. The second set, I believe that woman looked too much like the first woman, and it didn't have the same differentiation between the two. It was my thought. The first was very, very striking. The second was, and you spent a lot of time on that. And if you could tell that story, I would tighten it up a lot.
Yeah. I think that I feel almost like that story was distracting from what my message was. The second story.
Could be, so you might want to let it go.
Okay.
Always name the people that you're talking about, because these are
Okay.
your clients, these are people you care about. We want to know their names. I want you to give examples of the strengths. You talked about, you know, what are your strengths, what do you want to be known for and all that. You know, people need to hear some examples to get them thinking. I thought you did really well with the interaction with the audience, very spontaneous on that. I like your line that says, what do they write about you in recommendations? That sparked my attention. Oh gosh, maybe I need to go back to my recommendations and see what common words come out and make sure I'm expressing that in what I do.
That's good.
Don't start with a thank you.
Okay.
You know, go right into your program. You know, they should be thanking you that you're up there, inspiring them.
You're welcome.
Yeah. And then you also seemed a little out of breath.
Yeah.
So maybe work on some breath control or some deep breathing before you start to put you in the right state. I tell you one thing that works for me when I get nervous speaking is I imagine that I'm expected to do much more than speak before I get up. So I literally say to myself, Tricia, you're going to go up there and you have to juggle, or you have to play a musical instrument, or you have to sing, all of which I do not do. And I actually play this game with myself, and then I say, Tricia, all you have to do is get up there and speak. And it just completely calms me. So you might want to play with that.
That's good. That's good.
And knowing that, you know, we're here to support you, we're here, you know, in any audience situation, we're here because we're going to learn from you. And so we're on your side.
Okay. Thank you.
Yeah, you're welcome. Thank you.
Okay. I really liked the comments you just got from Tricia there. On your opening slide, I would have that off in 2 or 3 seconds. You know, on there.
I should have gone to the next slide. Have my lose my logo.
Or just do what Tom suggests and goes to the black slide. I'm making a lot of use of the black slides now when I get into long stories, because having that behind you does get distracting. And you were certainly your best when you were talking about The pictures, the side by side, I mean, I can really picture what you were saying about someone, how they were thinking about themselves. And we just got through talking about connection, and a lot of times we lose connection with ourselves and what we're thinking about. And I think that's a great point to really harp in, and I think that'll draw you into your audience quite a bit. And then also, some of the best advice I had gotten, I know when I first started speaking, I started, with no experience whatsoever, none. And I was sticking way too much to the script, or trying to stick to this, to the script. And the best advice I got was, Kevin, nobody knows what's in your script. Just press through it. They will not know the difference. And I know when you lost your train of thought or lost those words, you lost a little bit of momentum there as well. Just press through, because they do not know what's supposed to come out next.
Yeah, thank you. That's good.
But good job, though. Very good job.
I'm just going to say one thing very briefly. I mean, I love your presentation. I love the pictures. I mean, obviously, the clarity and everything. And those were the pictures, that connected me to the message. So that was the connecting vehicle. I mean, looking at those pictures, and when you have them side by side, it just, I was looking at one and I said, no, but I like this one better because I love the smile. And so I was connected, through the visual image. So great job on that.
Thank you.
So Lorikay, I feel like there may be two talks here.
I think I have a 10 in my head.
Now that could be two.
They all get intertwined and intermixed. Staying on target is tough.
Yes. So, because I was sitting here, I was trying to think through. I love, the connection of head. What's in your head is in your headshot. It's all that's speaking to me as the individual getting my headshot, and showing up in that space authentically who I am. But then there is another talk, I think, in there that identifies what is it you want to convey. How do you choose the right one? So it feels very different. One feels very very philosophical and very, very motivational for me. And then one feels very tactical for how do I choose for my business. And that's where I think the kind of the bartender, real estate mogul story comes into play. But the previous two pictures really showed the difference of posing for a picture and just having a picture taken of you while you were being authentically you. And learning to be okay with that, because none of us are okay with our pictures, right? Or most of us aren't. So I feel like there's something more there. So that might help you tighten up the stories a little bit, is to figure out what's the audience, and what is the one thing I want them to walk away with. And then I bet, because they say good stories are not about, you don't add things to good stories, you take things away from good stories. So then I think it might tighten things up for you. And I think anytime you can actually incorporate an audience interaction element into your presentations, your whole body changes.
Because I'm connecting.
Yeah, right. And so figuring out how to put yourself in a position where you can do that. And I know the bigger the stage, the harder that is to do. But I think I think depending on how you choose your speaking engagements, that could be a key element. It's a workshop in the making in many ways. So
I'm kind of taking a workshop because Alejandro, I think you were there when I did the NSA Friday, and I talked for an hour, and it was that was definitely more technical-ish, but but that was like an hour. But I feel like there's a bigger message. So thank you, that was helpful.
Yeah.
Is it time?
Oh, she's got about 5 minutes. Yeah.
Okay.
You're fabulous. You're fabulous. The things that I want to add, I thought in the beginning, and I could feel you were nervous and weren't catching your breath. And I think to slow down Because I felt like you were wanting to squeeze a lot, and I didn't even catch that point. I heard it, but it didn't stick with me. But what a great important point to really emphasize that to go back and think about what feedback have they given, you know, how do they see you? And so I think to really ruminate more, if that's the direction of this talk, is to slow down and really hit some points there. Because there was a lot of information and I didn't hold on to it.
Yeah.
You know, I really love the picture of the two that I really got that, the first one, about she made me uncomfortable looking at that picture. And then I thought, then you had like one quick picture and then you jumped to another one. So I think to pause with each picture, and maybe the exercise could be to either ask the audience, what do they think is their word?
Yeah,
or
that was the
tell
plan, but
them.
I only had 2 minutes left.
Okay.
So maybe fewer. I didn't time it or at all.
The timer police was flashing.
I'm like, wait, I haven't even showed a picture yet. Thank you.
So I think that would, you know, really add something interesting. And then, you know, to I guess, kind of maybe I'm being redundant, but in the very beginning, to really speak about that process of how you get people thinking about what their word is. I mean, that's you could really go in some depth there.
All right. I do have a story, so thank you. Thank you. Thank you.
Another thing, and I'm not sure if it can be really incorporated in this, but I'm trying to think of how you can make your message even more valuable to your audience, regardless if they become your client or not. And perhaps there's a way that you can show how important it is to have that connection with the camera when you're getting a headshot, just as much as it is to have that connection with the person that you're speaking to.
Yeah, that's what I want to say, and I did
Oh.
a terrible job of saying it. In the big picture, but see, I have so many talks here,
Yeah.
and I have this big one, and then I have a technical one, and I get up here and I forget, I guess, I don't know, that's not really, but yeah, I think that for a short message, the short one, I was kind of, I should have had more emphasis on that, you're right.
You know, you can talk about how, you know, we live in such a fast-paced,
Yeah.
plugged-in world that we often get distracted and disconnected, even when we're trying to connect one-on-one with someone. You know, you can maybe talk about, you know, in a networking event, who can relate to the experience of meeting someone new, and then as soon as you say what you do or whatever, and they realize that you can't help them, they're looking over your shoulder at somebody else they can connect with, and you just, you know, it could have been a good connection, but that person didn't give you a chance, or something around that. You know, we can play with it if you want.
Yeah, I think I need to simplify. I think I'm thinking too many things, and
Yeah.
Thank you.
Yeah, because you obviously you want to you know what's your ultimate intention is hopefully in most times that you speak that they become your client. But then you have to impress them that you know and get them to trust you, because it's a very vulnerable situation to be in. But then you also have to give them enough information that they can use on their own, so they feel like they got value out of it without it being just a sales pitch.
Yeah. Thank you.
We have 1 minute, please.
I might think about, in the start, choosing photos to convince the audience, first of all, that this matters, because what you're saying is revolutionary to most people. I'll tell you, lawyers in particular who get headshots. And I think you can do that in an interesting way by using photos, not that you've taken, but of celebrities that we all know. So like Barack Obama, and they had that amazing photographer that went, you know, and they released those photos. And you sort of say like, hey, what does this photo convey? People that we all know already, and you can sort of read what's in his head based upon some of those amazing photos. And one resource I would point you to is Vanessa Van Edwards. She runs something called The Science of People, and she does a lot on micro-expressions. She has a great course on Creative Live, but she also has a lot on her website where she talks about this inauthenticity. People are terrible. Micro-expressions are something we cannot control.
Yeah.
So those are things that you want to make sure, that's why it's important for you to have the thing that you want to convey in your head, because if you have something else in in your head, you're conveying that thing that's in your head and not what you intend to. And she has some great content around, like, here's some good examples, and you could definitely riff on what she does. And she's also an amazing speaker, and she talks about, hey, how to be an amazing speaker. But I think that your message would really go well with her, and then you're sort of just helping people, like the smirk. A lot of people, lawyers in particular, think a smirk is like the way to be professional but not too friendly. Well, actually, that's a micro expression for contempt.
That's
So
right.
when you see people on LinkedIn and all of them think that they're being so great because they have this smirk, this half smile, well really, and all of us are very good lie detectors, like human lie detectors, we know inauthenticity. So you may not say that person has contempt, but you're gonna look at that, and that's one of the worst expressions you can convey to people if you want to connect with them. So if that's what your point is, well that's something you can help your audience right away. You're like, hey, is your headshot like a smirk? Because this is exactly wrong.
Okay.
Thank you.
All right,
Thank you,
that's gonna do it.
everybody.